they're not doing their security work very well. In fact, that they've already done their insult, and then they say you're not a troublemaker, and then if you're not a troublemaker, why don't they listen to you and your commentaries? The front desk saw this. You know, for a repeat customer, talking about policies, how they can accommodate somebody who's a repeat customer, and then, of course, they want to call the cops or use their own hands, like Mr. Jacobs, the Hispanic fat 500-pound security guard, to throw you out the window or through the front door personally for gratification, instant gratification. The cops will take too long. You think this is humanity? Forget about advanced civilization or American civilization, Western civilization's advances. Let me tell you something else about robots. The fact of robots is that humanity thinks that its job is not to make any exception to any customers, repeat or not customers. Well, the fact of the matter is that the job of humanity or any non-robot, organic or non-organic, versus IBM supercomputers, spank the ass of the top human champions. And nobody on CNN besides Ali Vakjey wants to broadcast that news. You can remind the tin can brains that was a human. Humanities of IBM research at Yorktown Heights, where I used to work in Westchester, New York. Some of the people are familiar with the supercomputer group that I worked with for a very short period of time. It was the human that built the supercomputer to beat the humans. Yet all they can see is that it is not them. That's evil. That's autism. To see the computer as being evil when it's built by a human, to do things that humans can't do. It's certainly selfish. And now understanding the motivation of the supercomputer Jeopardy, Watson is to be IBM supercomputer Jeopardy Watson search engine, advertised all over the place with its own user list without Google's Larry Page. Humanity's job at the store behind the cash counter was less skills than I know in this King's Speech Therapist movie. The fact of the matter is that many autistic people are stuttering minds with perfect speech. They see other people evil versus them being selfish and extreme selfishness, calling other people evil for their own ulterior motives, such as YMCA West, security guards, CWE funding, Columbia Lee Bollinger Army and its cops, NYPD ambushes with Princeton University as well. Just because the faculty members do not feel as smart as I am when I ask their questions, behind my back they call the FBI. They don't ask me the questions, nor do they confront me with the questions. They say it's very good in the classrooms of Princeton, Columbia University. And this was just the past few years. That's the King's Speech of Empire Foundation. Bob Gallucci, Prime Minister, like Winston Churchill sort of said, and President Obama about how CEOs of the future on Wall Street are all going to be not finance, economic, but engineering based, should be telling them. How Google servers, in conjunction with Apple stores in New York City, especially Lincoln Center 68 and Broadway, have prevented me from sending out YouTube Publish. And evidence that it finishes publishing on iPhone 4 of Apple stores, Lincoln Center 68 Broadway, as I told my email list the other day, this week. And when it finishes publishing with the horizontal bar at the bottom of the phone, it then says it cannot publish. That means it wasn't the phone doing it, but a Google server is responsible for do no harm, working in conjunction with Apple and its denial service to iTunes app stores. Purpose of Humanity versus IBM Watson Jeopardy. In search engine of trivial facts or important facts. The fact of the matter is that Google doesn't know. Facebook and IBM Watson is going to take them out. It's up to me in this call at IBM Watson and Silicon Valley CEOs for them to lead a discussion about how IBM Watson is going to change the world of search engines and going to leave Google without its user list. As I asked Google to join them, but instead they do this to me at Apple Store, Manhattan, New York City, along with Steve Jobs, Wozniak, Tim Cook. You tell them that they should be working on a special edition of iOS 4.3 for us. You say, oh, these things that do nobody any good, but calling other people evil, who are not advancing the technology and science of iOS operating systems 4.3. Let me tell you something else about robots. The point of humanity is to be able to make exceptions to individuals and not treat everybody the same. That means policies, store policies, and not to call the cops and call you harassing them when you're discussing about how to accommodate you without pulling your pants down. Show what the real King's Speech is about in autistic people who don't understand that they're tyrants with less skill sets than Lionel or his dad, a failed brewery owner. The Duke of England, the brother of a king, the son of a king, told Lionel in the King's Speech, an Oscar-winning movie that's going with Colin Firth on CNN's own Piers Morgan tonight, tape a few days ago. You can tell the entire cast and Piers Morgan, CNN's Elliot Spitzer and Parker, that he learned about how to overcome his autism of speech. But many people have not overcome the autism, not being able to understand tax cuts for the rich don't mean job creations for every case. Dog holding shit is not an excuse for advanced civilization, not to wait for my restroom usage in public restrooms at Starbucks. People at Starbucks cash counters are tyrants who call the cops to choose their own customers with less skill sets than I know, and are knowledge impeders and destroyers versus Obama failed to tell them, as he did in his budget speech from the White House earlier this week, two of them, that he's looking for a 2020 goal of America leading knowledge degrees in number around the world, versus we call it knowledge generators. What knowledge does coffee and cash counter and managers at Starbucks, Burger King, YMCA, and security guards do? In fact, going one step higher, even what is Columbia University electrical engineering funding issues dragging his feet with Lee Bollinger, Charles Dukowski, and Mr. Chang, the chairman of Columbia EE department, the department that made MIT famous, but not Columbia, still ranked 25th in engineering, electrical engineering, computing science. That's why you should tell Yron Minsky, the son of Marvin Minsky, co-founder of MIT AI Labs, is why I call Yron Minsky from Princeton Math like Marvin Minsky was. And of course, at Yale Math and Topology now. So working on all topology, game theory, and global warming issues. And these show supercomputer Anton computers to simulate the topology where feedback of global warming happens, and many other game theory problems. These are knowledge generators, beyond knowledge degrees of many PhDs. Yet they've been told, and YMCA West thinks, I'm wasting time hanging out on MIT campuses, online or offline at the physical campus, versus Facebook. And that's what the Silicon Valley people need to know about Google and Apple versus Facebook. And the Egyptian revolts that use Facebook in picture stories without a picture, or Google YouTube, or Google Planet. Larry Page, Mr. Page, and many things, including Ariana Huffington Post, a merger with AOL to challenge Facebook. He's missed many things, and autism is to see other people pursuing their own goals, and even trying to help them. They stab themselves with turning off server speeds, turning off servers and YouTube broadcasts, and all kinds of gimmicks of denial of service, and not be able to see that you do not call the cops when your job is to listen to people's policy changes, that all stores, when you're less than 9L, a speech therapist, from a dad, brewery failure, and no medical degree or PhD. Yet he was knighted by King George VI. King George VI has been able to overcome his speech stuttering. But many people on tax cuts for the rich, Republicans trying to reduce government so that the government doesn't serve the people any more than the stores serve the people. Where they want to clock out and then refuse to give you shortcakes or cheesecakes 60 seconds after they clocked out at a supermarket in Lincoln Center area or anywhere else. And like Starbucks, 30 seconds late, they don't want to sell you or serve you. Yet they say they're interested in making profit for the store. They're just interested in power playing where they hate their jobs. They won't lift their finger 1 inch for the store's profit, for the shareholders, but for themselves only, and call the cops if you're 30 seconds late in leaving the store at Starbucks Manhattan. These are the things about King's speech and autism. Stuttering on mind is an understatement. BBC Worldwide Wireless in the 20th century by King George VI. Google YouTube Planet versus CNN Worldwide or BBC Worldwide Wireless in the 21st century. The Empire Foundation's calling the McCarthy Foundation, Bob Gallucci Prime Minister. The power is in him. King's speech has no power like King George V and VI, and President Obama's get the CWE funding and Tron legacy prices. Well, we reviewed in Tron legacy prices of McCarthy Foundation genius prices. Now, to fail this fall, that the real culprits are Apple and Google. They are the Cuee and Tron, impeding knowledge generators such as we. They have eyewitnesses on my email list. Gallucci and Obama walk the talk. King's speech on Worldwide BBC, 21st century, called Google YouTube Planets. Thank you very much. God bless you. Hold some more dogs and value them more than real knowledge intelligence.